Hey all you vape heads out there, I'm Eric the Saint Sire with 3 Innokin Mod reviews for you tonight. We got the VTR, the SVD, and MVP. I'll let you know which one gives me a vaping STD and which one gets my goat. Stick around. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Before we get into the reviews tonight, I'm going to let my lovely assistant Sarah give you a rundown of what we're going to be reviewing tonight, and I'm just going to sit right here and vape my face off.
Thanks, Eric. The VTR features variable voltage from 3 to 6 volts, variable wattage from 3 to 15 watts, 510 and eco-style connections, and uses 18650 batteries only. Items included are an extension bar, beauty ring, iClear 30 or 30S tanks depending on the version of the model. The MVP features variable voltage from 3.3 to 5 volts, variable wattage from 6 to 11 watts, puff counter, 510 and eco-style connections, a built-in 2600 mAh battery, pass-through and USB power output. Items included 2 iClear 16 tanks, 3 replacement coils, and a multi-head USB charging cable. The SVD features variable voltage from 3.3 to 6 volts, variable wattage from 3 to 15 watts, 510 and eco-style connections, and its telescopic tube supports 18350, 18500, or 18650 batteries. Items included are 2 iClear 30S tanks, 3 additional replacement coil heads, 1 beauty ring, short tube for an 18350 battery, and a long tube for an 18500 or 18650 battery. All units adjust voltage at 0.1 increments and wattage at 0.5 increment steps. Back to you, Eric.
Thanks, Sarah. So I'm going to start off with the first mod that I purchased, the good old VTR. I bought this at a local vape shop in Queens called VapeNY and HENELY. I'll post a link in the comments below. I walked in pretty much knowing what I wanted, which was this. So after all the research I did, I saw everybody ranting and raving, oh, it's heavy, it's great, it hits hard, you can go down to 0.8 ohms just in case you want to in the future use RDAs, which now I've turned on to. But like most reviewers will tell you, it's super, super heavy. I don't mind as much if I have a backpack with me, if I'm in a car driving. It's definitely a killer for home. Back and forth for me on a train to the city, no. Another thing that I'm not super happy with the VTR is being stuck with the use of the 18650 battery. It's just a part of the design, but with a 2100 mAh battery, you'll last about 3/4 of the day if you're heavy vaping. With a 2500 mAh battery, you're good to go for a full day of just strong on vaping pleasure. I've taken it with me with both just to test, and like I said, I've gotten about 3 hours less with the 2100 and a consistently hitting hard vape. So, though, if you want to, size is the reason and you want to do a telescopic like the SVD, being stuck with the 18650 might not be for you to have a smaller kind of build. But most of the mech mods that you'd wind up getting if you're moving up from this will wind up working perfectly with the 18650. So it's here nor there. Some people don't like the extension piece add-on. I keep hearing this on the ECF. Oh, it looks like this, it looks like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick cut. I have the castle on the extension piece. I think it looks badass. Some RDA styles might be a thing. For tanks, it might not be. Let's take a look with a tank on it so you can get a better feel. We'll keep the beauty. Well, this is actually a beauty ring for an Aspire Nautilus. So I have the Nautilus beauty ring on here, a little bit off center. It doesn't look the greatest. Even with its beauty ring that comes up, it kind of doesn't look the greatest. I like it with certain things. Favorite thing about the VTR is the display. It gives me exactly what I want in the order I want it. Click on the button, boom, you get your ohms. Next thing you get is the last mode that you were in, exactly where you were in that mode as well. Next is whatever you're going to switch to. If you were in power mode, now you're in voltage mode. Scrollability, yeah, it's not the most accurate depending on what you're doing, but yeah, to me, the adjustability is very, very easy. I can look at it, scroll through it. I don't like round robin on all things. Why don't I want to go back? If I want to go back a 0.5, why do I have to go all the way through to get it again? And what if I make a mistake? Everybody makes mistakes. That would suck. So I love the display. Another thing I love about the VTR, as a beginning coil builder, I can run down to 0.8, 0.7 ohms on this item. Took a little time to ramp up like any of these, regulated mods that aren't like, pretty much a mech mod or one of the high DNA models that can just power these with no problem. So, but if you're a beginning builder, you'll be able to ramp it up, you'll be able to get clouds, it'll make you happy in your pants until you go on to a mech mod. So let's move on to the MVP. First things first, portability, 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 battery life, battery life, battery life. I just took this on a trip with me to Vermont. It was vaping like a beast the whole time. I came back and it was still in the yellow zone. So the battery was still good to go and I didn't have to do anything with it. I didn't even have to charge it. Again, the portability is a breeze. It fits snug into my change pocket. So if I'm running around town, it's not a big deal. Yeah, the tank sticks out and I find it uncomfortable, but I pull out my mod every time I sit down anyway. So having to eat the 510 availability is also great if I want to grab like an iClear 16 with me, so I want to like switch my pitch up throughout the day. That's a great option for me because I don't want to be carrying another tank with me. A small iClear 16 is not a big deal. I can throw it within the same change pocket and have a little variety with my day, which variety is the spice of life, so why not? Another great feature people really rant and rave about is a USB portable charger for your phone, for your iPod, for your yada yada yada. I never have the need for that. I'm always in an area I have electricity available to me. I mean, it might work for you. If you work out and about, out in, I don't know, out in Timbuktu, and you're raising llamas, and you need to charge your phone because you need to get back to your wife, this might be a great option for you. So it's not necessarily a con, it's not necessarily a pro, it's something in between. The display, I'm back and forth with it. I can take it or leave it. The puff counter for me is great for smokers who are looking to use vaping as a step and a way out of smoking altogether. But for me to having to hold down the button even longer to get into the mode I want, just to see how many vapes I take, I always wish my vape counter was more. If it's 300, I want it to be 800 because I love vaping. So to me, that's kind of like a little bit of a pain in the ass. I don't like round robin on devices. I feel like you should have an up and down button. It's good if you have an up and down button and you have it round robin, not either or. If you have both, even better. But if you're gonna have round robin, if you're only gonna have round robin, I'm not a fan. You need to have something I'm gonna be able to bounce down. If I need to just go 0.2 increments down on my volts, or I just need to go 0.5 up or back, I don't want a round robin. I want to just be able to hit a button and then I'm done and then I'm vaping. So for me, again, that's a minus. The button is hit or miss for me depending on how I'm holding it. I'm so used to just grabbing it now and just grabbing it like this. So some people complain about where the layout of the button is. To me, it doesn't really bother me because within one day I was just used to grabbing it exactly the way it needs to be grabbed. The reliability of the button, I do wind up finding when I push it down, sometimes it just doesn't work. So, and I don't think that's out of 10 vapes, I might get that once, but still, it's a con for me. I don't like to not be getting my vape when I have it up in my mouth. If I have it up in my mouth, I'm sucking on it. I'm sucking on it. I want to make sure that I'm getting vape. So, you know, if the button was a little bit stronger maybe, or maybe just from the repeated use I've used it over the last 2 months and I'm beaten into the ground, that could be. But to me, over time, the button seems a little wonky. So that's where. And with that being said, last but not least, let's move on to the SVD, shall we? So this is my third mod purchase. So I actually did this review in the order of what I purchased. After having 2 box mods, I was really looking forward to getting this unit in, only because I had 2 box mods. I wanted to get a round kind of mod. I wanted to get the feel for it. I was just excited about it. I got the express kit of this unit. There's another version comes with additional 2 iClear 30, iClear 30S, depending on what they're throwing in now. I opted for the lower express model since I have a bunch of tanks already from having my other 2 mods, and I just didn't need the addition. So it only came with the shorter of the extension tubes. The longer one is set for 18650, but I have no problem using the shorter extension tube, and it works just fine. It fits just like the MPV in my little side change pocket. Yes, it hangs out a lot longer than my MVP, but it's bottom heavy, so it never seems to fall out. Plus, it's kind of funny because it starts a lot of conversations. I'll be walking around with it on the train, be like, oh, something's gonna fall out of your pocket. I'm like, no, it's okay. What is that? Oh, this is vaping. And it's helpful to turn on people who are interested. And it's great to have a person right there who it's working for and, you know, have them explain it to you. I liked the interface when I first got the unit, but over time, I kind of started hating it. The display is little, it's small, it's not big and bold. What I don't like about it is that for me to switch modes, I have to hold two buttons, and I have to hold two buttons for like 3 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds depending. But that to me is annoying. Also, when you're doing that, this tends to lock in that mode. So I'm hitting here, oh, I want to switch the voltage because maybe I want to use an iClear 16 or I want to use a smaller tank. Lock, 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 lock. I just hit 2 buttons to switch the mode. No, you're locked. So now I gotta sit there and hold both these buttons until it actually unlocks the unit. That's a pain in my ass. Not super fan of that. One thing I don't like about the SVD is that the extension bar that I got, and it could only be my extension bar, so I'm not saying this is for everybody, but it has like these little ridges that are cut out down there. They, to me, are they're not sharp. You're gonna run your finger across it and not slice yourself open. But they're very not even rigid. They're sharp. They're not sharp enough to cut you, but they're annoying like when you're holding it. I feel like it kind of just digs into you a little bit. I would prefer if they were just like machined a little bit better. I haven't really talked about any of the threading on any of these units because they only really have the 510 connection threading, which, by the way, 510 connection threading on the MVP and the VTR work just fine. The threading on the SVD on the top, the 510 connection, is on par with the other 3. I'm not too fond of the extension tube threading. For the bottom spring connector is fine. This is kind of hokey. It's like back and forth. You're not gonna be able to hear that. Maybe you hear that click. You click it back and forth. Even when I have it tight, I can still do that. You get this large click sound. So I'm not too fond of that, but you really have to play with it to get that kind of sound. But still, if I'm like, meh, yeah, I'm gonna get that. So not the super fan of the extension threading and the little space and gap between the threading. It just not the greatest. Battery life on this unit does seem to be better than the VTR with comparable batteries and similar tanks. I brought them both out for a test run about a week ago with an iClear S30, both running 2500 mAh batteries, fully charged, vaped them equally. Would go out for lunch, 5 or 6 vapes on this, 5 or 6 vapes on that. On my way home, I used it the whole day. It seems like I got 2 additional hours out of the SVD. I don't know if there's something within the chip that they use on this, but better battery life on the SVD with comparable tanks and comparable batteries in the VTR. That's something to think about. I have fired this SVD at 0.8 ohms with an Addy build on it. The same thing with the VTR. The VTR does ramp up those coils 3 times faster than the SVD, but for a beginning coil builder like myself, it worked great for me to get through the trials and errors. You're building coils, you're building dual coils. Oh, you didn't get it. I didn't get a sub-ohm build on my coils for like 3 or 4 different kind of tries, 3 or 4 different tries before I actually got it. I was like 1.5, 1.4. I wound up working down. I started looking at other videos, started getting their wrap sequence and all that jazz. So yeah, it's great. It is a great unit if you want to start building coils. The 510 connection on this unit does seem to make a better connection than the other 2 mods. The MVP coming in a close second, and the VTR lastly with that extension bar. So for flexibility when I'm on the road and I'm, again, bringing a small tank with me, it's kind of like wins out a little bit over the MVP. So with all that being said, if these products shit out, would I buy them again, and who would I recommend them to? Well, let's get on with it and start with the VTR. Would I buy this again? Yeah, I would buy it again. Despite the portability issues, it's the most consistent when it comes to the power of the vape. Also, for a beginner in the coil building arts, it's a great little unit to start yourself off with. You're not going to be sub-opening right off the bat. If you are, then kudos to you. But if you're not and you want to go down to 0.7, get a good vape off of it, see if RDAs are for you, then I would definitely recommend this unit for it. It's a beast, and it's a lot less expensive now than when I first bought it. When I first picked up this unit, I think it cost me like $129, $139. I've seen some of the VTRs, the newer models, going for $99, $89. So all in all, it's come down considerably, and I would definitely buy another one. Definitely at the price point now, with the reliability and the vaping it's giving me. I love it. So let's take a vape on it. Who would I recommend this for? I'd recommend it for an intermediate vapor. Someone who has another unit like an MVP, but wants something with a little bit more juice in it. It's gonna leave it in their car, leave it at home. Again, might build RDAs on it. So a secondary unit, offsetting something that you have that's easily portable and convenient for you, I would definitely recommend this. Next up, the MVP. I've already ordered another 2 of these units. Why? Because I'm a lazy mofo and I'm gonna leave one in my car and I'm gonna leave one at work. I will probably wind up getting a third one to leave it at my studio. I could do a full charge in this, go into band practice a week from now, and it's gonna vape like a champ. I know it's gonna vape like a champ in my car if I leave it there for a week with a full charge. Portability, when it comes to starter mods, in my opinion, it's the key to vaping. The small little ego twists, not saying they're bad, they are smaller, but if you are a heavy smoker and you smoked a pack and a half a day, it's just for you. So I highly recommend this. Now onto the SVD. I use this mod mainly when I drive. If I don't have my MVP charged and I'm running around and I have to run around the city for the day or something on foot, I will bring this as the alternative to that, but mainly for driving. One of the main reasons why is because in New York, you get tickets for cell phones. They consider this an electronic device. So if I throw an iClear 30 or iClear 30S with the knuckle drip tip on it, I can aim it up towards my mouth, easy to hit while you're driving. You're just cruising, you're not having to throw anything in the middle of your face. It's long. You throw an 18650 in here, you're going to be good on battery life. You're going on a road trip, yeah. So for me, this is my driving mod. In or around mod, there are probably better options out there for you. I'm not going to recommend other options for you, but if you go on YouTube, you go on Google, you go on the cigarette forum, there'll be a lot of people who will either love or hate this product. I'm so on it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's there. It works when it does work, when the fire button's not giving me kind of like a little bit of a problem. Would I buy it again? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably find another telescopic round mod with an easier display system. And that's just my opinion. So hope you enjoyed the little showdown I ran for you tonight. If you like, subscribe to the channel below. In the future, I'm going to be doing a couple other videos. It's 3 different juices on 3 different tanks. I see a lot of reviewers reviewing juices on an RDA, and while it gives you a full flavor profile of said juice, what about the guy who's smoking an SVD with a Nautilus? Or the beginner vapor who's using an MVP and an iClear 16? Not getting those nuances from these kind of tanks and these kind of mods. So I'm going to run down, grab the juice, throw it in 3 different tanks, vape it for a week. I'm going to give you a breakdown. I'm going to tell you the highs and the lows, the nuances, the flavors you're going to be getting from one and you're not going to be getting from the other. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Until then, keep vaping your face off, and I hope all your clouds have a silver lining. Good night, guys.